I believe we had about $10,000 in the car with us when it comes to like gift cards or just items that we purchased. We had about $10,000 worth of merchandise with us, but the news made it like we had about $100,000. I had like criminal simulation, so conspiracy. They made it as if, you know, we basically created all these cars because in addition, so once we get arrested, we had tons of IDs with our faces on them, different names, tons of credit cards with our faces on them, different names. It was kind of like, who are you for real? The charge was basically like conspiracy, creating these IDs, creating these credit cards, creating all the merchandise to be able to run this type of business. In the car with us, it was 3 people at the time, but amongst the group of people, it was a number of us. Nothing as big as they portrayed it to be, but it was a cool amount of us working together. This was my first time actually being in handcuffs, arrested, placed into the jail, spending time in the jail, having to bail out, going to court, going to trial, fighting the case, being on probation, paying restitution. At the time, I had to just figure out a way for me to be able to get my money into the hands of the bail bondsman because, again, this was my lifestyle, you know, so I had money to be able to bail myself out, which my bail was like $60,000. So I had to pay $6,000. A lot of this goes to me even being in college, like I had to be self-sufficient, so I had to make my own money, had to create my own avenues, so this was a way for me to be able to just live free from the burden that I would be placing on my parents, my dad who was a gangbanger or my mom who was a young parent who still had to take care of everybody else. It was me trying to be self-sufficient. I had to get my money together. Somebody had to drive from Atlanta to Tennessee to bail me out and then bail me out, drive me back. I feel like I had the street smarts and the book smarts to where it was like I wouldn't be in jail. I feel like when I made a decision to do what I was doing, I feel like I chose it wisely. I didn't expect me to go to jail. And plus, I'm not necessarily gonna say that my decision was a bad decision. Like, that's not what I was thinking about. I was kind of more upset that I got caught. I was arrested in 2010. I went to court for a whole year, so I had to drive up to Tennessee 4 hours every other month for court. And then in 2011, in September, I was sentenced. So I had like a 4-year probation. I had 1,600 community service hours. And I think that right there kind of like threw me out because T.I. was going through a case and he didn't even have that many community service hours. So I just felt like, I'm not doing this. And after graduating from college or finishing school, I didn't have anything to do, no family there. So it was like, this case is in Atlanta. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home. So I basically went home, still in the case, without having my case like transferred over to LA. So I basically was on the run. I said I wanted to live a regular lifestyle. Like, I just wanted to start new. Like, after all, I had like all these felony charges. I couldn't work behind the cashier at McDonald's. Like, I had to find a job that either did not do any background checks or I worked for somebody personally, and working for somebody personally wasn't working, so I just decided to get a regular 9-to-5 job. Literally, I worked 9 a.m. to 5 at Planet Fitness. So when I came back, I just said I wanted to get on a straight route because I feel like I lived a different lifestyle from what I was used to in college when I got there. So while working at Planet Fitness, like a year into working at Planet Fitness, probation from Tennessee calls my job like, hey, we're looking for Alneshia. And at this time, I'm the general manager, so I ran everything in my location. So my employee like, hey, the probation, it says probation on the caller ID and they're looking for Alneshia. So she placed him on hold. I'm like, what did you tell them? She like, give me a second. So I let her know to go back to the phone and ask them like, are you looking for a member? Because I work at a gym. Are you looking for a member or a worker? So she get back on the phone and ask them like, hey, you looking for a member or a worker? They're like, no, we're looking for the manager. Her name is Alneshia or whatever. So she says like, oh, I'm unable to find that person for you at this time. Boom. So she hang up the phone with the probation. So I go outside and my cell phone is ringing and it's them calling my cell phone. So I get on my cell phone, they're like, hey, this is ABC from probation. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? You know, they're like, we're trying to figure out if you live in Los Angeles or Atlanta. And I'm like, oh, I live in Atlanta because that's where my case was at the time. So they're like, okay, you have to report to probation tomorrow. So I'm like, damn. I took some PTO, got on the flight that night, flew to Atlanta, went to meet with my probation officer the next morning. And she just basically let me know that she was Googling my name on Google And somebody left me a review like, Alneshia's such a great manager, blah, blah, blah. You know, they gave me all these accolades at my job just trying to like, you know, leave me a review. And that's how she actually found out that I wasn't in Atlanta and I was in LA. So that's why she called. So when I get there, she tell me that information. I didn't even feel like lying no more. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I moved to LA because I don't have any family in Atlanta. And she let me know like, okay, you have to stay in Atlanta. From today on, you have to live in Atlanta. And I just let her know that wasn't gonna happen. Got on the flight because I had to go back to work. I have a whole different lifestyle. I got back on the flight back to LA. I applied for my passport in 2016 and I couldn't get it. They denied me like, oh, you have a warrant in Tennessee. So Atlanta didn't transfer my probation all the way back to Tennessee. So now I have to like figure out what I need to do in order to free up my name, which I really didn't care because I was not gonna get in trouble. But once I had my daughter, it kind of like gave me a different light. So I'm like, I need to be worry-free. Like I don't wanna be arrested with my baby at any time. So I decided to go back and turn myself in 2017. Flew over to Atlanta, flew over to Atlanta, drove up to Tennessee, turned myself in. They let me out. I bailed out again for the second time. That was like in a couple of hours. And then they restarted my probation. So they basically put me on like a probation for another 4 years. They say that if I'm in any trouble in the meantime, that I could be arrested for my charges. So I really have a light probation. I don't have to check in. I don't have anything that I have to do. It's just like not getting in trouble for the next 4 years. The judge also made it apparent that if I just pay my restitution or certain fees that I could come back and just have my case dismissed. But I feel like, why go through all that when I can just go through the process? I've already been on probation this whole time without being in trouble, so I might as well just stick it out. I feel like I've persevered through all that on the run, so it's like, why not do it when you're supposed to do it? And I feel like I need to serve my time in order to get over this, because getting away easy, how I get away with everything or anything, is just not right for this particular situation.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Like and comment below to give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related videos to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description and listen to our weekly podcast, The Gangster Chronicles, every Thursday. And thanks for watching StreetTV.net.